What's up guys, hope you guys are having a good day today, and today's video is based on Master Yi Jungle. The build that we will use is from a Masters tier player called Nameless King on EU West. Nameless King currently has 283 games with Master Yi. His game average is 9.1 kills, 7.1 deaths and 3.6 assists. So we're going to go into his build and hopefully you guys will benefit from it by either adjusting your build or using the tips which will be provided later in this video. So, let's get to it. Starting with summoner spells, Nameless King goes with Smite and Flash rather than Smite and Ghost. The reason for this is that with Yi, he already has a speed boost with his ultimate, and the Flash could be used to avoid crowd control, as well as to flash over barriers or walls, whereas Ghost wouldn't be able to do so. Since Flash is an immediate gap closer, you'll be more likely to get the backline in a teamfight with Flash Q than with Ghost because the enemy will have less time to react to it. Now, let's look at the runes and masteries that Nameless King uses. So for his runes he goes with 3 attack damage reds, 6 attack speed reds, 9 magic resist per level blues, 9 armor per level yellows, followed by 1 attack damage quintessence and 2 attack speed quintessences. Adding these together gives him a total of 19.2% attack speed and 5.1 attack damage from this rune page. Moving on to the masteries, he takes 18 under Ferocity, 0 under Cunning and 12 under Resolve. His keystone is Fervor of Battle, which suits Master Yi since he is a basic attack dueling champion. Therefore, the stacks from the keystone will increase his AD, and with his attack speed items he could reach the maximum stacks very quickly. In terms of his skill order, Nameless King starts off with Q, then E, followed by W. He then maxes Q, then E and W last, as well as maxing his ultimate whenever he gets to do so. Now let's move on to the item build of Master Yi. So starting off, Nameless King starts with Hunter's Machete, Refillable Potion and Yellow Trinket. By his first back he would purchase Skirmisher's Saber and Boots of Speed. He would then finish the Skirmisher's Saber and get Enchantment Bloodrazor. His core items are Skirmisher's Saber, Enchantment Bloodrazor, Ninja Tabby, Blade of the Ruin King and Phantom Dancer. Master Yi has a range of items to choose from because his optional items could range from countering the opponent team or building tank stats. So his tank items are Dead Man's Plate and Randuin's Omen. You could build Spirit Visage if the enemy team has a lot of AP damage, but Nameless King never chooses it, but it is an option. He would build Dead Man's Plate more often than Randuin's Omen. If the team is heavy in crowd control, he would build Mercurial Scimitar for the Quicksilver Slash active. When playing against dueling champions, he would build Guniso's Rage Blade. Another alternative item is Death's Dance if you want damage and cooldown reduction. Against AP champions, he builds more of Malmortius. For armor penetration, he would build the Black Cleaver, or he could build Yumu's Ghostblade. If you build Yumu's Ghostblade, I strongly recommend to not take Ghost as a summoner spell if you do prefer that. Ghost would not be needed because the Yumu's passive and ultimate give Master Yi an incredible high movement speed already. Flash would be more convenient. A good item to end the build with is Guardian's Angel. Note that he would only build 1 health item per game, so he would either build Black Cleaver or Dead Man's Plate. He wouldn't get 2 items which increases Yi's health. Also, I want to point out that I am aware that there is another type of build for Yi, which is basically like an AD carry or critical strike build, which has Infinity's Edge, Static Shiv, Berserker's Greaves, etc. But the build that I have used for this video is what Nameless King goes with, and it is a more common build. The build that Nameless King uses can work better because with this build, Yi is less squishy and has some tank stats such as armor or magic resist to survive in teamfights or against burst champions. Now that we got the build out of the way, let's go into some tips and tricks as Master Yi. So, to start off, it is important to know that Master Yi's Q is his most useful tool from his kit. It can be used to engage, and since it is a point-click ability, all you need to do is to be in range with the opponent. Also, his Q or his Alpha Strike makes him invulnerable so he can dodge skill shots or abilities and even turret shots. All you have to do is time your Q so when the ability is about to land, you use your Q and dodge the attack. Another thing I want to point out about Master Yi's Alpha Strike is that if you are taking turret shots, you can Alpha Strike the enemy minions, and as long as your minions are in turret range, the enemy turret will stop focusing you and focus on the minions. If your minions are not in turret range, but your teammate is under turret range, the turret can switch its focus to focusing your teammate rather than you if you use your Q. This is very useful when diving enemy champions, where you may tank the first few hits, then Alpha Strike, and allow your laner to tank the rest. It can also be used to get out of a situation where you have dived and the last turret hit can potentially kill you. Another tip as Master Yi is that you can use your Meditate, your W ability, as an animation cancel in between auto attacks. So what you do is pretty straightforward. You basic attack, press W, then basic attack again to your target. This is quite useful as it can make a difference, especially against duelers like Jax or AD carries, where each basic attack does a lot of damage and the highest damage per second champion, or DPS champion, wins the fight. A good combo of this is to auto attack, meditate reset, then auto attack followed by Q. Another tip with Master Yi involves using his Alpha Strike. So let's imagine a scenario where you are helping a lane with a gank, or you have ganked a lane, the enemy has low health but they are near the turret and you are too low to dive. You can finish them off with an Alpha Strike, but a turret hit can kill you. What you can do is that you can Alpha Strike a minion, which will also hit the enemy champions, which can result in a kill. But to avoid ending up where the enemy was, which is under their turret, you use your smite with your Alpha Strike on a minion. The important part when using your Alpha Strike on a minion is that just after your Alpha Strike is activated, but before it actually hits any targets, smite the minion that you queued. This will result to you returning back to where you started your Alpha Strike, rather than ending up where the minion or the enemy champion was. This allows you to safely use your Alpha Strike without transporting to the location of the last Alpha Strike hit. Note, this is not the same as using your Alpha Strike when under turret. If you use your Alpha Strike on an enemy champion and you are under turret, you will get hit. Your Alpha Strike will only result to the enemy turret to stop focusing you if you are already being focused by the turret and if there are ally minions or teammates who can tank the turret shots. Okay, so now let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages of Master Yi. One of the obvious advantages is that he's an incredibly strong mid to late game champion. Once he has his core items, he can easily duel any champion as long as he is not behind, and sometimes he could even 1v1 them when he is slightly behind. Another advantage with Master Yi is that he is a point-click champion, meaning that he doesn't have any skill shots, so all you need to do is to cast your abilities if the enemy is in range and basic attack. This is really convenient in ganking because he just needs to Q the enemy champion to close the distance between them. Another advantage is that he has an easy time clearing the jungle, especially with his Q, and has Meditate for sustain. Also, Master Yi is a very mobile champion, so he can easily chase down the enemy even if they burn flash, and with his Alpha Strike, it makes it very easy to continue chasing opponents. He can also run away or escape from opponents if being chased or running away after split pushing because of his high movement speed. Another advantage is that he is an excellent split pusher. With the correct items, he has a lot of attack damage and attack speed, which allows him to push towers very easily. This is useful as a jungler where you can shove lanes or push after a gank. Another advantage is that his Alpha Strike is very good to change the enemy's focus because they'll either have to wait for you to come out of the Alpha Strike or focus another member of your team. If they wait for you to come out of the Alpha Strike, it buys time for your team to put some damage to the enemies. If the enemy decide to change focus to your teammate, this could allow you to make an impact in a teamfight once you have completed your Alpha Strike. Another advantage is that his Q is considered an AoE and can do a lot of damage. Note that his Q can land up to 4 nearby enemies. Finally, he's an amazing champion to clean up in a teamfight due to his resets after killing an opponent. Okay, now let's talk about the disadvantages of Master Yi. One is that if he is crowd control such as being stunned, he is most likely going to die. The only way for him to avoid crowd controls is if he times his Alpha Strike, but the opponent may wait for you to use it before they CC you. Also, Master Yi needs an enemy champion or a minion or a neutral monster to use his Alpha Strike. So if Yi is caught in an area away from this, he has no escape. Another disadvantage is that he's generally a squishy champion, so he needs to have an extremely high damage output to be useful, which is why Nameless King only builds one tank item if he needs to. Also, because of his squishiness, if he is in the front line or goes too deep without any help, he is most likely going to get killed unless he's fed. Overall, I think Master Yi is a great champion to learn and play jungle with. He is easy to play, does a lot of damage, and can potentially carry games. So, when should you pick Master Yi? You should pick Yi if the enemy team has low crowd control and if the enemy team is squishy. These will favour Yi in potentially 1v2 or 1v3ing champions, or even getting solo pentakills. Well, that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned something from it. Please like and share this video with your friends and with whoever you may think would benefit from this video. Subscribe if you want this channel to grow, and comment on what champions you want to see me do a guide on next. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.